Okay, let's talk about life on the road right now. That hum of the engine, the miles scrolling by, the weight you're carrying. It's a unique life, right?
Definitely.
Demanding, vital.
Yeah, vital. You're literally keeping the country moving. But lately, it feels like things are shifting. Like the ground rules are changing under your wheels.
Uh-huh. There's a lot coming at drivers. Economic stuff, new rules popping up.
Exactly. And even this weird sense that your own space, your cab, isn't quite your own anymore. The pressure feels different, more
It's
intense.
building, yeah.
So let's really try to unpack what's going on here. For this deep dive, we want to cut through all the noise, and
Mm.
understand the big forces hitting you, the professional driver, and maybe find some solid, practical ways to navigate it all.
Right. Not just complaining, but understanding and strategizing.
Exactly. This isn't about us telling you what to do. It's about sharing insights, hopefully giving you a bit of that feeling of control, and honestly, making sure you feel respected and supported because
Right.
what you experience out there, it really, really matters. And what's fascinating looking at our sources is how raw and real the picture is. We're drawing from Truckers VA and Life as a Trucker.
Good stuff there.
Yeah, and it's not just dry reports, it's articles, actual driver stories, some sharp analysis.
Hmm.
It gives you different angles.
From the ground level.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And together they paint this picture of, well, an industry in major flux. You see these big external things, the
Gotcha.
economy, global politics, new regulations, really hitting drivers directly in their day-to-day.
Yeah.
Like Life as a Trucker always emphasizes, we got to help you see these things from all sides.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not just reacting, you're actually getting it.
Okay, let's dive into that. Starting with the economy and the global picture, because that hits the wallet first, right? Your load board, your rates.
Absolutely. It dictates the work.
So anyone with experience knows August should be peak season. Freight's supposed to be booming, rates ticking up, brokers suddenly know your name again.
The phone should be ringing off the hook.
Right. But this year, Truckers VA is calling it, what was it? Short and soft. That August boom. Apparently it's just not happening.
Yeah, real fizzle instead of a bang.
So why? What's going on? Well, first up, tariffs. They're throwing a wrench in things. There's this big 35% tariff on Canadian imports.
Ouch.
Yeah. And then you've got the ongoing trade stuff with China, with Mexico. It all adds up. Less stuff coming in means fewer containers to pull, less cross-border hauling. Simple as that.
Less inbound freight means less freight moving around, period.
And then there's consumer demand. It's just flat. People are feeling the pinch from inflation. Credit card debt is way up, so folks are being cautious.
Right. Less spending means retailers aren't ordering as much, especially not early for the holidays.
Which means that usual August backhaul you count on, poof, might just disappear, leaving you fighting for scraps.
And the whole supply chain is still kind of messy, right?
Totally. You've got warehouses overflowing in one place, empty shelves in another, so the freight demand is all over the place, unpredictable, no smooth flow, just these little pockets of urgency.
Scattered is a good word for it.
And you hear it from drivers. We saw this quote, owner-operator at land base said, last August, booked solid a week out. This year, I'm battling for every decent rate, every day, taking loads I wouldn't have looked at last year.
That sounds rough. Really rough.
Or this reefer hauler, Midwest, used to steady good loads. He said, load boards look like January. Desperate. It's August. Where's the peak? It feels like the whole market just slammed on the brakes.
And that feeling isn't isolated. It's across the board, hitting drivers right where it hurts their earnings.
So how are brokers playing this?
Well, when the market shifts like this, when it becomes a shipper's market, let's
Yeah.
just say brokers adapt. One source called it going full savage.
Full savage. Wow.
Yeah, it's not just offering low rates, it's tactics. Posting ghost loads, fake loads, just to gauge how low drivers will go.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. And then calling like 50 drivers for one single load, just pitting everyone against each other to drive that price down further. We're hearing these awful stories, like drivers taking a 1,200-mile run for $1.18 a mile.
$1.18. You can't even cover fuel with that.
Exactly. It's completely unsustainable. Puts you in the red before you even turn the key.
So who wins and who loses here?
Well, the mega fleets, they have cushions. They can park some trucks, maybe push more towards automation. But the small fleets, the owner-operators, they're getting squeezed hard if they don't react fast.
So what's the advice coming out of these sources?
It's really direct, like stick to the regions where freight is still stronger, more profitable. Don't just jump on the first lowball offer out of panic. Book smart, not just fast.
Easier said than done sometimes, but crucial.
Absolutely. And try, really try, to lock in direct connections with shippers. Cut out that middleman broker fee, build a relationship.
More stability that way.
Definitely. And the basics. Watch your fuel like a hawk. If that rate is under $2 a mile, maybe even higher depending on your costs, and you're guzzling fuel, you're basically paying them to haul their freight. The underlying message is pretty stark, and it's tough to hear, but it's this. No one's coming to save you. You've got to be smart, scrappy, strategic, hustle in ways maybe you didn't have to a year or two ago.
That is. Yeah, that's a heavy message. But, okay, the economy isn't the only pressure point. Let's talk regulations, because that feels like it's tightening up too, sometimes in really weird ways.
Right, the regulatory squeeze.
Top of the list, maybe, is this whole speed limiter thing. The DOT is looking again at mandating governors on trucks over 26,000 pounds.
Yeah, that debate keeps coming back. Setting limits, maybe 60, maybe 68 miles per hour.
And here's where it gets, well, just frustrating for a lot of drivers. You've got these potential strict mandates on trucks, right? But then for buses, school buses, public buses, safety tech, like automatic emergency braking or pedestrian detection, it's just encouraged, optional.
That contrast is something else, isn't it? It feels like a double standard.
It really does. And maybe nothing screams creeping overreach louder than that story about the unmade bed ticket.
Oh man, that one.
Can you even believe it? Driver gets pulled in for inspection, and the violation isn't brakes or tires. It's a messy sleeper berth, an unmade bed.
It's absurd, like getting a ticket because your car's floor mats aren't perfectly aligned.
Right. It's not just the ELDs trashing every minute, or the cameras, or the speed limiters may be coming. Now it's like they're inspecting your personal living space.
It blurs that line between professional oversight and just intrusion. Feels disrespectful.
Totally. And it feeds into that feeling, doesn't it? Why do truckers always seem to be, like you said, the first one's regulated, but the last one's listened to?
That's the core question, yeah. And on speed limiters, the industry isn't even united. You've got big fleets, surprisingly, often for it.
Really? Why?
They talk about fuel savings, lower insurance liability, but for most independent drivers, owner-operators, they hate the idea.
Because they know the reality on the road.
Exactly. They know that capping speed, when the system pushes for speed, creates dangerous situations. Massive traffic backups, more road rage incidents, trying to merge safely when you're governed. It adds stress, adds risk.
Creates rolling roadblocks sometimes.
Precisely. And that unmade bed thing, it's not just about tidiness. It's a symbol of this bigger problem, this regulatory creep that chips away at the freedom and respect that used to define trucking.
When your bunk is suddenly part of a DOT inspection.
Yeah.
It just diminishes the job, the autonomy. Now, look, there's one potential positive channel here. The DOT is asking for trucker comments on the National Freight Strategic Plan.
Okay. What's that cover?
5 main areas: infrastructure, safety, supply chain, sustainability, and equity.
Will they actually listen, though? That's always a question.
And that skepticism is totally understandable.
But
it's still really important to speak up. This is the chance to hammer home the practical stuff. Fix the damn parking situation.
Sure, safe parking. Mandate fair detention pay. Stop letting us sit for hours unpaid. Yeah. Maybe push back on automating everything when basic human needs aren't met.
Use your voice while there's an open comment period.
Exactly. Your input could actually help shape things in a way that supports drivers.
Which brings us to maybe the most critical part. The human cost of all this. Safety, fatigue, and that feeling of needing some control back.
Yeah, this hits hard.
We've been following the story about TGS Transportation. Family company, 40 years, suddenly shut down.
Tragic end to a long run.
The official reasons are a bit murky: insurance hikes, drivers leaving, lawsuits after a big fatal crash involving fatigue.
A perfect storm of problems, it sounds like.
But when you dig into what people who work there say, the real story seems to be about this culture of pushing too hard, unsafe pressure, overworked drivers, and then tragedy struck.
That pressure to just get it there, no matter what.
Exactly. And it's not just TGS, right?
Yep.
It feels like a wider issue in trucking culture sometimes. Speed over safety. We saw these quotes from former TGS drivers, really disturbing. One said, "I was literally falling asleep, nodding off. Called dispatch. They told me, drink coffee, push through, we need this load moved."
Oh, that's horrifying.
Another one said, "They expected us to run like the clock didn't exist, like HOS wasn't real. Push past your limits or you're out."
That kind of pressure, it leads to mistakes.
Yeah.
Slow reactions, bad judgment.
It's not just risky for the driver, it's risky for everyone sharing the road. And like with TGS, it can have fatal consequences, even bring down the whole company.
And what's fascinating, or maybe just deeply worrying, is how this connects back to everything else. The economy, the regulations. There's this consistent lack of, let's call it, real accountability and real respect for the driver and how the industry often responds.
Those drivers need to watch out for this in their own jobs.
Absolutely. You need to be aware of the warning signs.
Mhm.
Are you feeling pressured to drive tired, even subtly? Are there jokes about fudging logs or ELDs? Do you feel like just a number easily replaced?
Red flags, big
Uh,
ones.
Huge red flags. Because that constant pressure, combined with falling pay and that feeling of being micromanaged like the bed ticket, it just fuels dissatisfaction. It makes the driver shortage worse.
Why stick around if you feel disrespected and squeezed?
Exactly. Drivers lose respect for the job because the job, in many ways, isn't respecting them. Which brings us back to that core truth. You can't build your entire future on shaky ground, whether it's unstable politics, a crazy market, or a company culture that doesn't prioritize your safety.
Relying solely on the truck puts you in a vulnerable spot.
Incredibly vulnerable to tariffs, to regulations, to your company suddenly folding or pushing you too hard. Your livelihood is too important for that.
Okay, so we've laid out a lot of challenges here. Weak freight, tariffs, weird rules, safety scares, companies shutting down. What's the common thread? What's the takeaway for the driver listening right now?
It really boils down to one urgent message we saw across all the sources. You need to take control of your financial future. Proactively.
A plan B.
Essentially, yes. The consistent advice is learn new skills. Use that downtime, that off-duty time, wisely. Start building other income streams.
Make your time work for you, not just for the shipper or the broker.
Precisely. Build something more resilient, less dependent on the day-to-day chaos of the freight market or the next DOT mandate.
So what does that look like practically?
Well, connecting it all, the solution that kept coming up is leveraging new skills, especially things you can do online, maybe even using AI tools. Think of it as building a shield
A shield against
the flight rate roller coaster,
Yeah.
against economic downturns, against your company maybe hitting the skids. It's about creating online income, maybe recurring income that gives you stability.
So you can retire when you decide, not when the market forces you out.
That's the goal. Using trucking as the engine to fuel your future, not just being stuck dependent on it. Not letting regulators or market swings dictate your entire life, your retirement.
Okay, AI tools, side hustles. How does a driver realistically do that from the road or during home time?
The sources suggest exploring things you can manage remotely. Maybe using AI to help write content for a trucking blog, share your expertise, your route tips, build an audience, maybe monetize it.
Turning knowledge into income.
Right. Or using AI for research to start a small online store selling niche gear for truckers. Or even developing a simple online course based on your years of experience.
Things you can manage from a laptop in the cab or at home.
Exactly. The call to action is clear. Learn about these tools, these side hustles. Build an income stream that you control, something immune to tariffs or regulations or delays. It's about diversifying your future, giving yourself options and freedom.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a ton today, from that weak peak season and tariff impacts all the way to regulatory headaches like the bed ticket and the really serious safety issues and fatigue pressure.
It's a complex picture out there.
No doubt. It's clear truckers are facing some unique, intense pressures. But the core message we pulled from everything is really about empowerment. It's about respecting you, the driver, who keeps everything moving.
And maybe that leads to the final question for everyone listening to think about. How can you start shaping your own path forward in this unpredictable industry?
Taking control.
Yeah, the road ahead, it's probably going to stay bumpy, lots of twists you can't predict. But if you have a strategy, if you diversify your plan, you can be the one driving your future on your terms.
Because ultimately, the best freedom is when you're holding the steering wheel of your own life, right?
Absolutely. Nobody else should hold that wheel. And hey, for anyone wanting to explore this more, resources like retirefromtrucking.com were mentioned as a place to get started. Finding info on those AI tools, planning that more secure, self-directed future.
Good practical next step, definitely worth checking out.